Okay, this is a Westinghouse Symphonaire 6 with Wi-Fi. So I'm sure this will be just as miserable as it looks. It's got tuning, volume, and you pull it to turn it on. So, you know, child-friendly controls. Nice big broken chip there, which I can't do anything about. That's fine. The cabinet is pink, so every 12-year-old girl is going to want this thing until they hear how it sounds, and then they definitely will go running, because I'm sure there's nothing good about this. I don't even know why I'm working on it. That's a safe cord. And these things are impossible to replace. It's kind of in bad shape. It's got that crack here. Someone's been in it before, and the screws are missing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why am I doing this again? Here's the inside of the Westinghouse. It comes complete with a printed circuit board, a gigantic speaker, which I don't know how this is going to sound. I don't know. It might actually be okay. It might get good reception with this 3-gang tuning capacitor. You have your replaced capacitor. This is a Sprague Adams. This capacitor might still be good. These tend to last a long time. What's not so good is the Bumblebee capacitor there. The way you read these is the band here starting on the left, yellow, then magenta 7, so 4, 7, and then the orange, so 4700, so 0.047. So that'll need to be replaced. You have a paper cap over there where you can't see it. That should be replaced. Oh, it has a dial light. How fancy. Yeah, this is like cheap and, well, not even really cheerful. I mean, look at this. So there's probably a higher end set that had 2 knobs on each side. I bet it was one with FM. I bet you had an FM, AM, and then a tone control. So anyway, this was the cheaper of them, clearly, and it definitely shows with its cheapness. I mean, it's just cheap. Like, look at this thing just flex. Really, really cheap. Let's take a look at the underside of the circuit board. Here's your high quality. I mean, actually, to be fair, the quality's not that bad for a circuit board. It's just that tubes and circuit boards don't get along. The heat produced by the tubes just tends to cause the solder joints to go bad on the circuit board. A lot of intermittent connections. You end up with traces that like to lift off. That's where your capacitors connect. So that's not too bad. And then you've got these 2 capacitors. I mean, this is simple. This is a good project to complete quickly. So while we are waiting for things to heat up here with the soldering iron, I'm going to go ahead and spray my control. So I'll just turn that, make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, turn it off a few times, it should be fine. The question is, do I leave this capacitor? I bet it's still okay. I think what we're going to do, I am going to change the Bumblebee, and I'll change the other paper cap. And we'll power it up. See what happens. So I'm going to change the Bumblebee with one of these safety caps. It is a line bypass. It goes from this side of the line to B minus. It's a 0.047, but the value shouldn't really matter. All it does is filter out line noise. So this is a 0.01. It should be fine. Okay, that went ahead and changed the line bypass and that one other capacitor. Everything else in here is a disc capacitor. You can see there's that one there, and then a couplet. Those don't usually go bad. Those are disc capacitors as well. Plus, this is engineered so cheaply that it really doesn't have that much to it. Yeah, so this capacitor, it's probably still good. These Sprague Atoms were very good quality capacitors. To be honest, they're probably just as good, if not better, than the modern day ones we're putting in now. I mean, these days they've made capacitors a little better quality. Well, they can make better quality capacitors cheaper, I guess is what I should say. So, even the off brands are acceptable, whereas the old off brands were garbage, and only a few were very good quality, and these are very good quality. Everything else looks okay. I'm going to check there's 2 dial lights. Wow, fancy. So yeah, we're going to check the radio and see what it does. If it hums, we'll just change that capacitor. Not a big deal. Here's my cord replacement. I'm going to put the heat shrink over it. Should be all right. Not going anywhere. Okay, so we have the cord replaced. You can't get those things anymore, the cheater cords or whatever. They're just impossible. Plus, this radio is, honestly, the 2 capacitors I put in there are probably worth more than the whole radio. So this old original cord will do just fine. Okay, so we got it hooked up to the dim bulb. I'm going to turn on. The variac is on 0, and we'll just turn that on. Put it up to 15 volts. See if we get anything. At 30 volts. 35 volts. I don't see anything. Doesn't mean much though. 45 volts. Should be seeing some filament. Hold on. Oh no, I do a little bit. Just wait. 50 volts. 60 volts. What I do hear are cars going by outside. See, tube filament's glowing. That's a good sign. Go to 70. I should be hearing something. 90 volts.
Free radio offer. By now you've probably heard of.
It's a little weak. A bit weak. No hum. Filter caps are fine.
Sponsored by Hint Water. It's pure water infused with surprisingly true fruit flavors, including watermelon, blackberry,
Plays, but it's very weak.
no sweeteners, no calories.
Let's try something.
Hint Water with a touch of true fruit flavor. Now at 428 WCBS traffic and weather together with
Tube sockets.
starting on the southbound side of the FDR, a very slow ride from the 110s all the way down to just before
Let's do it just a
It
little
is a
quick.
crash there blocking the lane. Northbound delays from the 30s up to the GWB on the west side, from the 50s up to the GWB Deegan Cross.
Alignment is way off.
There is a crash. You'll find
So you
delays
can see
continuing on the
that's
inbound side of the
the-
Pulaski Skyway, right by Broadway in
So
Jersey
that's not
City.
right.
That's a broken down vehicle blocking a lane there. Here's Craig Allen with the forecast.
You feel.
We're now well out to the east of us, and like New London County in Connecticut, the one that was over the eastern sections of Suffolk County, that windy out there, but it is going to be turning much cooler and drier as well. The relative humidity has been dropping steadily ever since. suburbs. Tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, a brisk wind, and much, much cooler wind than today as well. Highs tomorrow only up around 70. Partly cloudy for Saturday night, 55 to 60. Even some upper 40s, low 50s in the suburbs, and a nice Sunday with a high near 75.
This doesn't sound terrible.
New York's trusted source for news, traffic, and weather. This is WCBS News Radio 880.
I really hate to say this, but it doesn't sound that terrible. This isn't terrible.
For these immigrants. 4:31 at WCBS. Crowds are gathering at Penn Station, New York for the ride home as New Jersey Transit deals with engineer sickouts. The agency...
I hate to say it, but it's actually not that bad. So definitely needs some more alignment. I'm going to go ahead and align these IFs. I don't know how we do that with this. One's on top, the other's probably on bottom. Nice. Don't you love when they make it like that? But yeah, we can definitely align the IFs. Filter capacitors are fine. I'm not going to change them. Why waste the money on this? It's cool, but it's not worth a fortune, especially with the big chip on the front, you know. Broken front, the cabinet has a crack, the cord's broken, you know. There's no hum, so why put $2 of parts in it when it works fine? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my signal generator, and we will try and do an alignment of the IFs. So to do an alignment on one of these, you need this tool. There's a little piece of plastic, and it goes inside the holes in the IF cans, which you can see here, right there. And it's gonna be impossible for me to do that with the phone, but you'll get the idea.
Their names would be with Chinese. Ronald?
This radio is actually working really well.
Times 3. The Carol would be a very... Years probation.
Really?
In the creator economy.
Pause you 2 seconds.
Odd has dropped by 10%.
Sensitive, selective.
Hold a 10-game lead on the second-place Blue Jays.
Sounds good.
About zero.
Oh, God, I'd pray for Naomi.
$100 value, free.
He's 80.
So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring...
Tons of volume.
Go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to
I don't
get
hate
started.
this.
If it's happening in Fairfield County.
It's actually pretty good. Let's put it back in the case.
Discreetly in unmarked boxes.
And a 6-4-3 double. Games left in the season. Really be a bump in the road.
Incredible. I see no reason to disbelieve anything you've told me. Things equally remarkable, equally incredible happen every day in a big city. I know. And hopefully his colleagues will come his way.
Titles, 3 with New England. One line to right, that's going to be a base hit.
I'm Kelly Dillon. Our next report at 10:31.
Okay, sure.
Odyssey has news that hit home in your local area and around it.
Until the legal proceedings are settled.
Meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year...
Not much up here. Kind of ends around 1500.
and 5% for 2-year leases. It was a 5-4 vote covering regulated apartments that house about 2 million New Yorkers.
Winds News Time 10:23. Cops on Staten Island investigating a broad daylight
Nice
shooting.
color.
Happened just before 6 in a deli on Victory Boulevard in St. George.
Yeah.
NYPD looking for 3 males who fled
Chip
the scene
is really
after shooting a
shame.
22-year-old man in the head. The victim is in critical condition.
Everything else is nice.
Top
66910-3075 or download their free investor's
So,
guide
yeah.
at Legacy PM
Not too bad.